Before the arrival of the Europeans, people lived in peace because of the existence of only one religion. That is the African traditional religion. Karl Marx, a philosopher, sees religion as an opium of masses. This is to say, religion is not just about the supreme being we worship, but also what the society has accepted and believed in. Welcome to another episode of The Daily Trend right here on New World TV. Catch us live this and every Thursdays at 8:15 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. Repeat also on 4:15 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media platforms. On Facebook, The Daily Trend at The Daily Trend TDT, and on YouTube, The New World TV, The Daily Trend playlist. Our topic for discussion today is a very crucial one: faith, religion, and spirituality. To do this discussion, I have with me
Azongo Malibna Shila,
Miss Isel Ama Philippa,
and I am Cindy Ohinuwa Isiedu. Faith, religion, and spirituality. What's our take on this?
Spirituality has to do with something that is concerned of the spiritual world rather than the physical. So everything that an individual does to get connected to the spirit world is spiritual.
Spirituality.
Yes.
Okay. So I also see spirituality to be a physical practice as well. When we take yoga is an exercise, and that exercise it helps you build your body, like physically. It helps you maintain some physique.
Okay, it's true. Most of the spiritual practices involve a physical practice or physical exercise, but the main idea is to reflect, to meditate. And when we are meditating and we are reflecting, it's to get a link, a connection in the spiritual world.
Spirituality is basically about a belief in God and active participation in an organized religion. And some people also see spirituality as a non-religious activities, which helps them get in touch with their spiritual selves. And this can be done through private prayer, meditation, time in nature, and yoga.
But is it always the case that religion is the belief in God? Because Muslims call
God
their supreme being Allah,
yes.
And Christians call God. Some other religions have a way they refer to it. So even though we have learned in school that it is just the same thing they are calling Allah, but we can't actually say it's the same thing. If it were the same thing, I think they would have had the same name for it. I think it is better to use an ultimate reality, because everyone has that. Whoever I am addressing my prayer to is my ultimate reality. Yes.
Yeah, I also see spirituality to be an individual practice instead of a collective something, because it's you alone doing yoga, for instance. The person is doing the yoga alone and is also having the connection to the spiritual world individually.
So simply put, spirituality is something which is done physically, but it is being manifested in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
No, she spoke about the individuality of it. So spiritual is being spiritual. Spirituality has to do with individuality and individuals' way of connecting to the spirit world. But in a way, a group can also do that, because religious practices, most of them have a spiritual link. Just
like
that,
prayer.
Yes, just that the experience may be individual. So we are in a church and then we are praying. We are praying to God. We are praying to the sacred being. We are doing it as a group. It is a spiritual practice. But the experience I will get from that is individual. That is why in some cases you see others talking and shouting and falling, even though they are doing it in a group. The experience is individual.
So can we say a spiritual person automatically becomes a religious person, because the practices inside the spirituality is a religious something?
Okay, we can say that every religious person is spiritual, but it may be wrong to say that every spiritual person is religious, because when we look at religion, even though it is difficult to pinpoint what it actually is, because what someone believes to be religious may not be religious to the other person. Yes, and the moment I belong to a religion, it means that I believe that these practices are right. These practices are the things I should be doing. They are what I should follow. So in that, it is spiritual, because this, what has proven that these practices are right? What has proven that these practices I should follow?
But I would say that every spiritual person is religious as well.
Okay.
Being religious doesn't necessarily mean worshiping God or Allah. You know, there are some religious ethnic groups which are not popularly known.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
For instance, we only have, for instance, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. They are popular, but there are some minor ones which are not popular. Yeah, so once you are spiritual, you should be religious as well.
I object to that, because being religious means that you belong to a particular group. That means that you are following these practices, you believe in the practices. I mean, one person cannot just get up and say that I am a religious group. No, it doesn't happen that way. Yes, it's a social institution. Yes, so an individual person can't just get up and but then an individual person can be spiritual, because some people do not belong to any religious group, but then they do things spiritually, and I think their spiritualism actually even works as compared to those of us in the churches, the mosques.
So when we talk of religion, you can say that religion is an organized group of people,
of course,
which is based, they do things based on religions and practices based on the
dogma,
sacred. And when we talk of sacred, what comes into mind? Sacred is anything which is extraordinary, which is holy and worthy of honor. Examples of the sacred are the Holy Bible, the taking of the Holy Communion, the cross, covering of the hair, and many more.
But it's like you are linking it to only the Christian aspect, because the things you've mentioned are the things that Christians use, but religion on its own,
the popular one, covering of the hair. I made mention of covering of the hair. And covering of the hair, I was pinpointing that to Muslims. Muslims cover their hair. I know there are some Christians who cover their hair, but for Christians,
but covering of the hair, is it spiritual?
It doesn't make one spiritual. When you cover your hair, it doesn't make you a spiritual person.
I believe that some of these practices are just done to promote decency. Yeah, because anyone can get up and cover their hair.
Yeah, it promotes decency.
Yeah,
and
so
it also avoids molesty as well, and also covering of the hair also shows respect to your object of worship.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's true. I think some Christians even some Christians do that. Some Christians cover their hair. Yes. But when we look at these three, spirituality, faith, and religion, I think they all have a link.
Yes.
When we take belief, for instance, when you belong to a particular religion, you believe in certain practices. You believe that these practices are right. And then when you take spirituality, one would believe that, yes, if I sit down and I meditate, I am able to connect to a spirit world somewhere. And then some people also believe that even before something happens in the physical world, it has already been done in the spirit world, and it's now manifesting.
Spirituality, it helps us to understand more about life.
Okay.
It helps us to know life very well.
That's true. That's true. It also promotes ethics, right? It promotes ethics, because I don't think there's any religion that teaches people to go about stealing and killing and all that.
Of course.
Yeah. And even though this religion teaches us all this stuff, there are a lot of things that religion has brought which are so bad.
This question keeps coming to my mind. Like, I remember the time we were in SHS, we had a course on its own, that is CRS, Christian Religious Studies, and we use the Bible as our textbook.
There's
that is
IRS too, and they use the Quran.
We use the Bible as our textbook, but the people reading the Bible, like my course mates, the kind of character or the kind of behavior they are in does not depict the Bible they are reading. So that means
all in the name of I need to study
academic
pass
purpose.
My exams and
so they were reading. They were reading it as scholars of religion,
so not spiritual aspects,
Islam. Not
just
spiritual.
Because they wanted to know. Because I'm in school, I need to study, pass my exams, and move forward.
And even moving away from academic purposes, someone could just decide to, I want to read the Bible because I want to know what is in the Bible. It doesn't make me spiritual.
Okay.
Someone reading, I can read the Bible from a spiritual point of view. In that sense, I'm reading the Bible to understand my sacred being, my ultimate reality. I am reading the Quran because I want to know my Allah better. I am doing this because of that. But then if I just decide that I am reading the Bible, it means I just want to know what is inside. It doesn't make me spiritual. For instance, I decided to read the Bible because I needed new vocabs. And
there are dictionaries all around. So why should you choose Bible?
Gives me the words, right? Dictionary gives, if I'm using the dictionary, I see words and the meanings of those words with their examples.
You want them in a sentence form?
In a situational form. So you see, Bible contains stories, and I don't know, I'm so in love with the words in the Bible.
So which Bible did you actually read? Is it the King James with the thou, art,
well, I don't actually remember,
or
because that's like 6 years ago.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember which one I read. Yeah.
And moving on to faith, I would say that faith is one of the words which is commonly used, but it's just a few individuals who understand the meaning of the word. Because it means something different to each individual. For some people, faith is seen as intensely personal and often seen as extremely private. And it ranges from a set of beliefs on one hand to the acceptance of a specific set of beliefs on the other hand. And we can also find faith in the Bible, in the book of Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1, which says that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Here we can see that the underlying feature of faith is trust or confidence. And people also see faith as believing in something despite lacking evidence in proving it.
So we're talking about religion, even though the definition in the book of Hebrews in the Bible may be correct, but it may not make sense to a Muslim. It may not make sense to a traditionalist. Even if it is right, because it is coming from the Bible. We Christians, we've accepted it, but for the Muslims and
other religions,
they don't accept it.
Yeah, but it is evidence that faith is just believing something that doesn't have proof. I mean, there has been no science.
So we can say we have faith in God or the supreme being we worship, but we've not seen them before.
But we believe he exists.
Even with Jesus Christ, for we the Christians, some people are saying he's black, some people are saying he was a white. We don't know, but we are believing that Jesus Christ exists.
Yeah, that's so true.
And we also believe that Jesus came to this earth to die for us, but we did not see him.
Yes,
but it's our belief, and each year we celebrate Easter,
Christmas and all that,
because he was born and all that.
Oh, okay. And when we look at religion too, they both give religion, spirituality, and faith. They give meaning to life, right?
Yes.
Some people try to. I mean, what is the point if I just get up and I'm eating and I'm not doing anything? Like, I'm just there. Even though, like, it is true that someone created us, and some people see it wise to acknowledge the person even though they do not know the person. So instead of just getting up and then being there, going to work and all that, some people believe that, if I go to church, if I go to the mosque, I will hear good things. When I come, I will do good things.
When you are depressed and you enter the church,
you get comforted, and it gives you that sense of belonging. It gives you that sense of belonging.
At least
but there's
if you
this form
enter
of
the
unity in church.
Okay.
Yeah, for instance, I'm a Pentecostal. Anytime I go to church, I feel we are one family.
The way you sing, you dance, and all that stuff.
Yes, our daily activities.
Yes.
Like there's unity. Because
course.
if you have problem, you can go and see your pastor. You can go and see any of your church member. And once the person can help you, trust me, the person is going to help you. So there's unity in church as well.
Okay. Given the complexity of this topic, it is necessary that we take a pause to reflect on our beliefs and consider the perspective of others and come back to the discussion with an open mind. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our discussion on spirituality, faith, and religion. Without wasting further time, we delve into the complexities involved in this theory. So let's explore. There are some practices of religion that has brought so much so much bad. I mean, everyone knows that death is not a good thing when you are at a tender age. Yes. So there are some religious beliefs that we are not able to transfuse blood to a person in need of it, because I don't know what their reasons are, but all I know is that people are dying, and it's not a good thing.
The reason behind them not taking blood from someone is because of the disease that can be transferred from one person's blood to another person. Yes, and also genetic traits,
diseases
like some
from one blood to another.
Of course.
And so before blood is
course.
transferred from one person to the other,
it's
the
screened.
doctors test it.
Yeah.
They test it to make sure that there's no disease, there's no infection. They make sure that the blood is clean before they transfer from one person to the other.
Everybody and the blood. So someone taking somebody's blood into the system
everybody
and using
and
it.
Blood, but we have blood types, so you may have the same blood as mine.
As yours.
Yes.
But in the local dialect, they'll be like, so mojafin is the dirty blood.
Is
like
also a religious belief or spirituality.
Of course, they have scriptures backing it.
Mojafin, what does it mean?
Like maybe
dirty blood in what sense? Not in the sense that
the family that the family that the person is coming from. Every family has something bad, a bad omen or something inside. So taking that blood, of course, they have that belief
in blood.
Oh, of course, they have that belief.
This
they have that
mindset
belief.
has brought in a lot of death in this country, for instance, because I have a friend who died because his parents refused for blood to be transferred to him. So the only thing he needed was blood, that's all. He's from a rich home. The only thing he needed was blood, but the guy lost his life because his parents said no.
I've also witnessed someone who did not lose their life because of taking herbs. Like they have this palava leaves. Of course, herbs.
For the herbs that you need blood right away. It's now you are going to look for herbs.
No, the herbs are at our disposal. The herbs are at our disposal. So it's
at your disposal. Where I come from, I've not seen any herbs that can use.
For the herbs, out of 10%, it's just one who survived.
So the person I saw, the person survived.
That's a 1 out of 10.
Interesting.
That's a 1 out of 10. Okay, so if you are stepping aside from this issue of blood transfusion, there's also one that is of major interest to me, and that has to do with interreligious marriages. I mean, there is this young man who is in love with this Christian lady, but because this Christian lady is a Muslim, because this lady is a Muslim and the guy is a Christian, you are not able to, get married and all that. Like, do you see that happening? Or is
religious background shouldn't matter when you want to marry somebody.
It shouldn't matter, but it's happening.
It is happening.
Love, trust, and respect. So once they truly love, respect, and trust each other, religious background shouldn't matter.
I remember one time during the Corona season, I had a Muslim friend. Okay. This guy, like, I liked so much. We were just close, and he could come to me. He could come to me, and we would sit down and be discussing and other stuff. When the Corona came down, now we could start going to church. He could escort me for rehearsals. He would sit and wait for that 2 hours that we rehearsed.
Does he get into the church?
No, he's outside.
Did he give you any reason for not getting into the church?
I didn't ask him because I know Muslims will not. He could wait for me. One day we were sitting outside.
So you understood everything.
Yes.
That's complex. It means you got the complexity in it, because he can't follow into the church because he's a Muslim.
Yes, so I made him wait outside.
Okay. So did you guys date or anything?
No, we couldn't date because my mother, I was sitting with him somewhere, and then one lady came to pass. I went to tell my mother that I'm sitting with a Muslim, and when I went home, the woman was talking like, why are you sitting with a Muslim? You know, it's not accepted and other stuff. Did
you ask her why it's not accepted?
I actually didn't ask her because I knew that Christians and Muslims, we don't really...
If I may ask, do you have Muslims in your family?
No, we don't have Muslims in our family.
That's why, because personally, I have a lot of Muslims in my family. So if I should take a Muslim to my house, telling my parents that this is the guy I want to marry, they'll give me the go ahead.
Because we have Muslims in your family.
So
that is your family.
Because to having Muslims with us. So your parents should be educated on the fact that Christians and Muslims are one. The only difference between us
is that Christians and Muslims are one. That is a statement.
They know we are one.
If you believe that we are one,
between us is that we call our supreme being God, they call their supreme being Allah.
Yes,
I want to object, because even Christians from different denominations are not one. Yes. We don't see ourselves as one. We just say we are one, we are together. Yeah, but that is not the case, because when you get deep into it, there are issues that is so bad.
Yes. I know even within Christianity, division, because I'm a Christian, I'm a Pentecostal, I would like to mingle with Pentecostals only. I'm a Catholic, I would like to mingle with Catholics only. It is very bad. So even within Christianity, I know there are.
But given even looking at the religious marriages, even if we, the couple, we understand each other, our family understand, we are going to give birth, right? We are going to give birth, and we are going to place this child in I don't, for the lack of a better word, in trouble. The child is going to have trouble deciding what religion should I follow and what have you. And if you're not careful, either of the parents will be talking to the child about Islam religion, the other one will be talking to the child about
the Christian religion.
For, the child may be too small to be taking these things. And some are like, when you get to 18, you
have
to decide for yourself.
But that 18 doesn't really work in Ghana.
Ghana. She's a Christian and she married a Muslim. They have 3 kids now. And for the eldest child, he's 21 years. And for their children, they've given them both Muslim and Christian names.
Oh,
and even I remember when we were 17 years, I asked the guy that, so when he's 18, will he like to choose one particular religion? He said yes, but he didn't tell me the particular religion he would like to join. But now he's 21 and he's still a Christian and a Muslim as well.
You see, he's 21, so still he's not his.
Sundays he goes to church and Fridays he goes to the mosque.
Interesting.
And they've been giving both Christian and Islam names.
And this guy's a confused boy.
Yes,
because he's confused.
You are seeing the peace, but can you see the peace within him?
Yes.
I can tell you that I'm okay, but you wouldn't know what is happening.
Each other, so they are living at peace.
They are living at peace.
See
okay.
him as a confused person, but he's not.
He's not a
very
confused
happy.
person.
He's very happy. He goes he prays 5 days, 5 times in a day. Friday he goes to mosque. Sunday he goes to
doing all these things.
So he knows something about this.
Wow.
I feel the person doesn't want to decide because he probably doesn't want to hurt his mom or hurt his dad.
But his parents have given him the go ahead.
Yes, they've given him the go ahead. But if I put myself in the guy's shoes, I'll feel that okay, if I decide to be a Muslim, mommy will feel that I don't like her religion. Yes. And if I try to choose daddy's religion, mommy will feel bad. I think that is why he's doing that. But if you say he's happy doing it, well, who are we to say otherwise?
He's very happy because there are no issues since time immemorial. There are no issues there.
Sure, there are no
issues. Yeah, trust me, they are living in peace with one another in the house.
In the house, they're living in peace. I don't get it because this guy is. Even his faith is in trouble.
Yes.
Because now which faith is he in? Like exactly which one is he believing?
Because he can't believe in the two. He can't believe in both.
He can't believe in the two. How can you believe in the two? So you pray 5 times a day. You would perform the ablution.
So let's take the issue of Jesus Christ. Yes. Okay, Muslims believe that Jesus Christ is not the Son of God. They believe that he's just a messenger. Christians believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. These two contradict. So which one does the guy believe in? So it gives me the impression that he's just doing it because he doesn't want to hurt any of his parents.
But if
he's deeply rooted,
few years to come,
in some few years to come, he may choose.
He made his mind that when he's 18 years, he will choose.
Probably when he's stepping out from his house, when he's getting married.
When he has his full freedom.
So you see, he's not okay with it too. Because if he would change, it means he's not okay. Or if he would change later, it means he's not okay.
But he's very okay with how things are.
Then probably he's not as spiritual or as religious as we think. Because even if you are spiritual, it is very, very difficult for you to step out of your church to go to someone's church.
And
because
his mommy still goes to church. His daddy still goes to the mosque. And
they are at peace in their home.
The most important thing is respect and understanding. So once there's respect and understanding, everything can happen.
Okay, once there's respect and understanding, everything can happen. But let's move to the issue of religion and poverty. I think that churches or religious beliefs are actually encouraging poverty because the person is poor, the person goes to the church and the person is encouraged, oh, God will give you money, God is going to do this, God will do that, and the person goes to church every day instead of going out to look for something to do. There's this thing people call crazy faith, and I think it is one of those things because you are you know that you're supposed to work to get something, to get money. But here's the case: you are always in the church, you are not working, you are not doing anything, you are praying, God, I need money, and then the pastor too is encouraging you. Money is not everything.
Yes.
You don't need money to be happy. You need money to be happy.
You need money to survive. Money makes you. Money makes you a human being. That is how I see it.
Exactly.
If you don't have money, you are not a human being.
Yeah, so these churches are actually encouraging poverty, and some people too. They don't want to get married, but because they don't want to marry outside
let me talk about this crazy faith you are talking about. There was a woman. The husband gave her money to establish a business, and in fact, because of faith, she sent the money to the pastor. The pastor was like, your reward is in heaven and all that. Now the heaven is not yet, like the time for heaven is not yet due, and you've given the money to the pastor saying heaven. Now the husband came back. The business I told you to establish, like how far, and I say you've given the money to the pastor. Like
people really believe in their
pastors, crazy faith,
especially women,
and that brings a lot of divorces. They trust their husbands. They trust their pastors more than their husbands.
So as a Christian, and it's a Sunday morning, you're supposed to go to church, and then your husband be like, please cook food for me, let's say fufu, prepare fufu for me before you go to church. And that time you'll be late for church, so will you stop and go to the church and come, or you would?
Why can you demand fufu?
That is what he's craving for that morning.
No, but so if you are
really,
if you are both Christians, and then my husband should understand that the next morning we'll go to church. So if he wants that, he should say it so that I can do that earlier.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I think this issue can happen when my husband is a Muslim and I'm a Christian. I'm going to church. So that's Rabba. Please, I need rice.
Another thing I have realized is that nowadays some religious leaders have started portraying themselves as God on earth.
Yes.
So instead of their church members worshiping God, they end up worshiping them. And it doesn't make sense. You're a human being, I'm also a human being. Worshiping you doesn't make sense. So this alone is
they believe in their pastor.
God. They really believe in their pastor, thinking their pastor will help them, their pastor will give them the money they need, the job they are looking for, the family. No.
It is true that religion and spirituality and faith brings about unity, but I also think that it brings about division. Because you see a group of people, each one of them belonging to a separate religion or a separate denomination, and we all think that we are right.
And also, even the job market, there are some CEOs, they only employ people that have the same religious background as them.
Yes.
For instance, I'm a CEO, I'm a Muslim. And if a Christian should bring his CV, I'm not going to employ him because of his religious background. I'll only go in for the Muslim. Even if the Muslim is not qualified, I'll go in for the Muslim. And there are others too who don't promote the Christians. They only promote the Muslims and leaving the Christians at the lower rank, which
even
is very bad.
Seeing Presbyterian, like them seeing Presbyterian schools or like other schools, that is the missionary schools. If before you are going to apply for a school, you write maybe a Presbyterian or whatever. So the school you apply for, if it's a Presbyterian school, they will admit the Presbyterians and leave the other denominations because the Presbyterians do something in common. So if you're a Presbyterian and you come, at least it's okay. But if you are from other denomination and you come, some things will be doing. You are not coming to learn new things, but with them, they know the things. It happens everywhere.
Even in these religious schools like Islamic schools, Christian schools, Catholic schools. For instance, I attended a Catholic school, and in my school, if you are not a Catholic, you don't qualify to be a girls' prefect.
Yes,
you have to be a
my
Catholic.
school too. If you're a Muslim, you can't go for any position.
Some Islamic schools too. If you are a Muslim, if you are a Christian, you don't qualify to go in for any professorship.
Yes.
And I think in my school too, if you were a Muslim, you only qualify to get some particular positions. Yeah.
And even for some schools like the Adventists, for them, most of the times they admit the Adventists more than those from other religious backgrounds. So you move to an Adventist school, you realize that the Adventists are more than the Pentecostals, the Presbyterians, the Catholics, and many more.
So we can see this topic of religion, faith, and spirituality is a very complex one. And in fact, religion is kind of individual practice. So before you can accept someone's religion, I think you have to be in their shoes, and so that we can live at peace in the world, because this topic is very broad. Like, we can't even finish.
That's true. We've discussed that religion, faith, and spirituality are important aspects of people's lives. It is very necessary that we consider the perspective of people so as to promote unity in our societies.
In it that has a beginning, has an end. All too soon, we have come to the end of another crucial yet very interesting and educative topic as well. I know you have learned something, and so have I. You can follow us live on you can follow us on Facebook, that's the Daily Trend at the Daily Trend TDT, and on YouTube at the New World TV, the Daily Trend playlist. You can catch us live on Thursdays at 8:15 a.m. and on Saturdays at 4:15 p.m. Thanks for staying with us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.